Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the breaking updates surrounding the 30-year-old Kristin Smart investigation. We're going to cut right through the noise and look at exactly what's happening right now on the ground in California. Okay, let's jump right in because San Luis Obispo County Sheriff Ian Parkinson just delivered this startling statement. He confirmed that while they can't explicitly say it's Kristin Smart just yet, scientific evidence shows that a human's remains were there at one time, or, incredibly, are still there. This isn't just a hunch. This is based on tangible, hard scientific data. So what exactly led investigators to this crucial point? Let's look at Section 1, the Arroyo Grande search. So recent search warrants were served this past Wednesday at a very specific home in the Central Coast town of Arroyo Grande, which is just over 150 miles northwest of LA. But here is the absolutely crucial part. The owner of the home is Susan Flores. Investigators have made it crystal clear that Susan cannot return to this property until they have checked absolutely everything. I mean, they are literally refusing to leave the premises until they are 100% certain they've exhausted the search. We are seeing a massive pivot here. Think of it like shifting the entire focal point of a 30-year puzzle. In the past, prosecutors focused heavily on Ruben Flores' property. They previously alleged that Kristin's remains were buried there and later moved, though Ruben was ultimately acquitted of accessory charges. But today, the focus is distinctly different. It's on Susan Flores' property. And it's definitely worth noting that Susan has never faced criminal charges related to this case, making this a really significant shift in where they're actually looking. And honestly, that pivot makes total sense when you consider this perspective. Chris Lambert, the creator of the Your Own Backyard podcast, who, by the way, actually helped investigators by bringing forward additional witnesses over the years, noted optimistically on Thursday that past searches of Susan's home were just never thorough. He really believes this specific property has been overlooked for quite some time, which naturally raises a fascinating question. How exactly do you effectively search an overlooked property 3 decades later? That brings us to Section 2, the science of discovery. This is where the methodology gets incredibly fascinating. Experts like Tim Nelligan are on the premises utilizing a rapidly evolving science called soil vapor sampling. This means they aren't out there just digging blindly. Instead, they're actively gathering underground gas samples right from the yard to detect volatile organic compounds. To put it plainly, they are looking for the exact chemical signatures associated with human decomposition. It's a highly specialized scientific approach that lets them literally pierce the ground without even lifting a shovel. It's a precise 3-step scientific escalation. Step 1, detecting those underground gases. Step 2, investigators are having to physically move items in the yard to deploy ground-penetrating radar, scanning the earth for physical anomalies. And finally, Step 3, if that radar pings something, they are totally prepared to secure additional warrants to excavate and literally break through solid cement. It is a meticulous inch-by-inch sweep.
Moving on to Section 3, a decades-old mystery.
To really put this into stark perspective, we have to look at the massive, honestly agonizing gap of time here. Kristin Smart, a 19-year-old Cal Poly student, goes missing after an off-campus party way back in May of 1996. It takes 6 long years for her to be declared legally dead in 2002. And then it took a staggering 25 years before Paul and Ruben Flores were finally arrested in 2021, which led to Paul's ultimate conviction for her murder in 2022.
Let's look a little closer at Paul Flores, the man at the center of that conviction. He was the very last person seen with Kristin, and prosecutors allege she was killed during an attempted rape. He was sentenced to prison in March of 2023, where reports actually indicate he's been physically attacked at least twice. But here is the most critical fact of all. He was convicted of her murder, yet Kristin's body has never been found. That missing piece? That is the driving force behind absolutely everything happening today. Which leads us into Section 4, the final stakes. Now, this number represents a really important recent legal development. In 2024, a judge ruled that Paul Flores must pay just over $350,000 in restitution to the Smart family. This was ordered to cover the immense financial costs they incurred following Kristin's death over all those decades. However, as you can probably guess, that money means absolutely nothing compared to getting closure. The family has actually made a heartbreaking offer. They stated they would completely forego that entire $350,000 if Flores would simply reveal the location of Kristin's remains. They are literally willing to trade that court-ordered financial justice for the simple piece of finally bringing her home. So we see a really striking contrast in where things stand today. On one hand, the Smarts family remains incredibly resilient. They're hopeful that this current scientific search will be successful, and they draw a ton of strength from the local community's ongoing support. But on the other hand, in a 2024 statement, defense attorney Harold Misek insists that the defense does not know where the body is, and Paul Flores continues to maintain his innocence. It's like looking at two entirely different realities, separated only by the hidden truth of one location. All of this leaves us with one haunting question. As authorities refuse to leave Susan Flores' property until every single inch is checked, using vapor sampling and ground-penetrating radar to hunt for chemical signatures from 1996, will this evolving technology finally pierce through decades of mystery? Will this new science finally bring Kristin home? It is a developing situation that hinges entirely on the dirt, the science, and a search for truth that has never once stopped. Thanks for